Yes, our favorite enslaved simp. That one guy who decided to end the entire world because his girlfriend dumped him when he got crushed by a pile of rocks, decided to rizz his best friend before the mission even ended, and then got killed by his former boss who he would go on to betray. They say love makes you do some crazy stuff, but this guy takes it to a whole new level. He has to be the saddest character in all of Naruto, not only because his story's sad, but because he can't get past fawning over a 12-year-old girl, and what is he now, 31? Today, we're gonna be talking about Obito Simp-chiha and explaining exactly at which point he decided that he wanted to live in the Matrix and bring you with him. Grab some popcorn and whatever body pillow you've got closest to you, probably Gojo, and let's get into it. Welcome to the Amagi. Before we begin, only 25% of our viewers are subscribed, so if you're a fan of the video, please like and double check if you are subscribed, and with that out of the way, let's get into the video. Early life. Life would be hard for Obito. This we know because, like Naruto, he was born without parents. He had parents, they just died or something. Wait, did they die? Obito was born under parents who really liked milk. He lived with his dear old grandma for most of this time, and despite being from the single coolest clan in all of Konoha, he was a real dud. He sorta sucked, and everybody knew it. Pretty sure his original plan was that he wanted to be a carpenter or a farmer or something. Maybe not. My source is that I made it the fuck up. Anyway, he decides he wants to become a ninja now so he can become the president of the United States. Only the most shared dream in all the village. And for someone like Obito, who suffered from chronic dry eye and chronic lack of general abilities, it wasn't looking very bright. He joins ninja school and becomes best frenemies with Kakashi Hatake, a skilled shinobi, son of a legend, and a prideful son of a gun who thought his farts didn't stink. Obito hated him so much. Know who he didn't hate though? Rin Nohara, a girl who, despite not being interested in football, really liked the face paint. The issue with Rin though is that she didn't like Obito. She liked Kakashi instead. So now there were two people who thought Kakashi's farts didn't stink, and Obito had another reason to hate Kakashi. In the end, he passes the graduation exam and becomes an official genin. And who does he get teamed up with? None other than Kakashi and Rin. No surprise. They study under Minato Namikaze, who is super fast and a promising candidate for the position that Obito is over there lusting for. Minato gives them the bell test, in which Obito basically is used as a tool by Kakashi to claim the bells. It wasn't exactly the meaning of the test, but Minato let it slide because nobody thinks Kakashi's farts stink. What's that? Huh? Sorry, director told me to move on from the fart jokes. Anyway, the team gets off to a rocky start. And a rocky middle as well, and it just stays rocky. But as they get better, Minato starts to believe that they are capable of becoming Chunin, so he lets them take the Chunin exams, where Kakashi basically carries them to the exhibitions, where Obito is kicked out round 1 by Might Guy, someone who could hardly utilize ninjutsu at all. Guy would end up defeated by Kakashi later on though, only making Kakashi seem even better than Obito. Poor little Obito failed to become a Chunin here, but Kakashi didn't. Kakashi passed and has something new to lord over Obito with. Eventually, more time passes and Obito gets a new chance to become a Chunin. This time, he succeeds and becomes one. Finally happy to be on par with Kakashi again, he goes to show it off, only to realize that Kakashi has already become a Jonin, and is getting a party thrown for him. There's presents and everything, but Obito doesn't want to get him a present because he hates him. Kakashi tells him it's okay though, because whatever present Obito got him would probably be as useless as he is. Ouch. Kid's already down, you gotta burn him like that? What's next? You're gonna lord your air fryer over him and point out his fake Air Jordans? Well, all of this is happening around the time of the Third Shinobi World War, so now that Team Minato's got nothing but Chunins and Jonins on it, guess who gets to go commit serious war crimes? These 12-year-olds. Minato takes them with him on a mission to destroy the Kanami Bridge. While there, Kakashi attempts to use his new technique Chidori to kill a guy whose name I'm too lazy to look up, only for it to fail and force Minato to bloody his hands. Minato tells him that Chidori is too dangerous to use for someone who doesn't have a Sharingan. Despite that, he literally hands command over to the kid who just tried to use an untested technique in the middle of a life or death battle situation, and then leave to go on a new mission. Kakashi turns around, flaunts that he's in charge a lot, and commands them to follow him, which Obito begrudgingly does. Well, on their way there, Rin Nohara gets captured and taken to another castle, as all chronic damsels in distress do. Kakashi wants to leave her butt behind, but S to the I to the M to the P declares that they should save her. And when Kakashi disagrees, Obito goes AWOL, saying he's trash either way, and he might as well be better trash than Kakashi before running off. Kakashi thinks about it and decides to have a conscience. He follows after Obito and catches up just in time to have his eyeball eyeball poked out. Obito, sad that Kakashi's eyeball is gone, develops better eyeballs and kills the guy using them. With his newly awakened Sharingan, Obito decides to go rescue Rin some more, and so he leads Kakashi into definitely not a trap cave. There they fend off the last guy who's holding Rin hostage. They free her, but the guy decides to make the cave fall apart on top of them, and because Kakashi can't see so good, he gets beamed in the face by a boulder. But our hero Obito grabs him and throws him out before becoming the prize at the bottom of a giant box of Cocoa Pebbles. Everyone tries digging him out, but it's too late. He's crushed under the rocks. As his last gift, he gives Kakashi a brand new eyeball, something he'll definitely regret later. He prepares to die and lays there while all the action takes place above him. Minato even shows up, but instead of digging the kid out to see if he's still alive or even just to bring his body back home for grandma, they forget about him and leave him behind. For shame. And if that's not bad enough, the girl he's simping over literally declares her love for another man while standing above his grave. Kid sacrifices himself to be a hero and is literally forgotten the minute he's covered by rocks. His life is so sad that even the devil himself feels bad. And by devil himself, I mean Madara Uchiha, who sends his Zetsu to rescue him. They bring him back where they can rebuild him. They have the technology. They can make him better, stronger, faster, and made partially of tofu. Kid wakes up naked in a bed beside an old man. If I were Obito, I'd have a lot of questions too. Old man informs him that he is Madara Uchiha and that Obito is now his slave. Obito says no, and Madara says, "I will steal your eyes." Needless to say, Obito becomes Madara's slave. He trained, did yoga, balanced sticks on his hands for fun. Needless to say, the smell of old man and the total lack of anything to do was driving him insane. He grew friends with a Zetsu named Tobi. Considering their names were so similar though, Obito named him Guru Guru, which means swirly in Japanese. Eventually, one day, Guru Guru shows up and says that Rin Nohara was captured by the Hidden Mist village, but this was a lie. She was actually captured by Madara, who put a seal on her heart and then sealed the three tails into her. He then set her free and told the mist where she was. The Hidden Mist then tracks her down, but Kakashi's there to protect her. Or is he? Obito, with the help of Guru Guru, escapes the cave to rescue her, only to see her killed by Kakashi's Chidori. Both Kakashi and Obito awaken their Mangekyo Sharingan. However, the ordeal is too much for Kakashi, so he decides to take a dirt nap in the middle of battle. Obito then sorta goes insane and, I don't know, develops the ability to create trees and stuff. Hashirama Senju cells are the explanation, but that's a whole other can of worms. He can make trees now. That should be enough for you. He uses his ability to make trees and his broken Mangekyo to not only actually become a cool character, but to mercilessly slaughter everything and anything within a 50-meter radius. Everything but Kakashi, though he seriously thinks about doing it. In the end, he spares his old comrade though. Another mistake he will regret later. Returning to Madara, Madara finally reveals himself as the crazed evil telemarketer he really is by trying to sell Obito on his evil plans of world domination. And being the frickin' simp he is, he accepts. Madara's like, "Alright, nice. Make sure you bring me back later when you don't need me anymore," and cuts off his own life support system because, yeah. Spoilers, Obito doesn't plan on doing that. Starting the Akatsuki. Kinda. After this, Obito develops a mask that looks exactly like Guru Guru. Makes me wonder why he didn't just keep wearing Guru Guru. And he goes to Amagakure, where he decides to turn a nice little humanitarian aid group into a terrorist organization. When the leader of this organization decides to decline his offer, Obito tells Hanzo that they're dangerous and gets the leader killed. Leadership passes to the emotionally frail and now hyper-edgy second-in-command, who cripples himself in sorrow and forgets to eat 2,000 calories a day. They agree to give up their humanitarian plans and become terrorists, and Obito's like, "That's wonderful. Let's make a good world together, filled with pain." Their first order of business, the Three Tails. It regenerated after the death of Rin, so an angry Obito goes to Kitty and finds that it's sealed inside of the current Mizukage, a young kid who is actually an adult, but I guess that's par for the course in anime. He mind controls Bro and his tailed beast because apparently chronically dry Sharingan are more powerful than the regular kind, and makes him do lots of really bad things, such as the Bloody Mist trials in which non-native Kirinin have to kill each other to become Genin. This is what creates Zabuza, but he's not so important here, so we'll forget him. After this, Obito decides to pay his old mentor a visit. Turns out Kushina is preggers, and guess what? That means it'll be easy to steal her tailed beast. So he waits until she's gonna give birth, sneaks into the cave she's being held in, and proceeds to kill everyone, taking the baby she just popped out. He uses the little infant as a flying diversion and steals Kushina, where he proceeds to suck Kurama out of her suspiciously no longer pregnant looking belly. Fun fact, after giving birth, a woman's belly doesn't really change shape until at least a week or longer. After freeing it, he then lures Minato to him and does pretty well against his old mentor. That is until Minato figures out how Kamui works, stabs him, and then rips his arm off. Minato was savage. After this, Obito retreated to watch the carnage in the village, but Minato defeated the Nine Tails and resealed it into his own son before dying. So in the long run, Obito killed Minato and Kushina. It was technically by default, but a win is a win. Some time passes and he decides he hates the Fire Daimyo now, so he goes and kills him. Here he meets Itachi for the first time and kills his friend in front of him before leaving when he hears Kakashi is on the way. A few more years pass and Obito is stalking Konoha again. Itachi believes he's moderate and says, "Hey, I know you hate the Uchiha, I'll help you destroy him if you don't destroy Konoha anymore." Obito doesn't hate the Uchiha, is not Madara, and definitely plans to keep harming Konoha, but he agrees to the plan anyway, because he knows that the less Uchiha there are, the better his plans will go, and the more Sharingan he can harvest for later use. So he pretty much does all the heavy lifting in the massacre, while Itachi goes and just kills the civilians and cries about killing his family. I'm sorry, Itachi fans, I love him too, but Obito did all the hard work, and Itachi doesn't stand a chance without him. Obito then has him join the Akatsuki before moving behind the scenes, officially joining Akatsuki as Toby. Yeah, because he didn't have enough pseudonyms, he stole Guruguru's real name and attempted to join the Akatsuki from the outside to deter suspicion. He would go and take the Ring of Sasori, who had been killed while kidnapping Gaara, to use to get into the Akatsuki. He would also find Datara's severed arm, but Datara was still alive. Due to these things, he was accepted into the Akatsuki as a silly and clowning jokester whose personality was the same as Guruguru. This was the best version of Obito. Changed my mind. He was basically Ninja Deadpool. But alas, not all good things last forever. They would hunt down the Three Tails again to capture it. They would also capture the Four Tails and seal that too. It was at about this time that Datara heard that Sasuke killed Orochimaru before Datara had a chance to and decided to kill him. Obito would go and help. Kinda. By help, I mean he mostly stayed out of the battle and made quips. Datara would blow himself up, and Toby would supposedly be caught in the blast, ending the funny character he had pretended to be as he just went back to sitting behind the scenes most of the time. However, Obito mentioned that he wanted to make Sasuke his new pawn based on how strong he was. He decided to let Sasuke kill Itachi before revealing the truth. He would proceed to hold off Naruto and his group, not letting them get anywhere close to Sasuke until after Sasuke killed Itachi, where he would then kidnap him and tell him the truth, waking Sasuke's Mangekyo Sharingan. Sasuke nearly destroyed Obito with Amaterasu, but somehow, Obito stopped himself from burning? How? I don't know. Maybe Kamui or Izanagi? One of the two. With his hatred refocused, Sasuke would turn his anger towards Konoha. After the death of Itachi, Obito had to deal with Kisame, consoling him and revealing his face to him. But to be honest, Obito was glad that Itachi was dead because he knew he was a plant and that he was gonna get in the way unless he was removed. And so he just sort of waited around until Sasuke brought them the Eight Tails to seal up. Sadly though, it wasn't really the Eight Tails, but a tentacle in disguise, so you can imagine how pissy Obito was about that. Obito, however, after the death of Pain, assumed full control of Akatsuki. After this, he realizes that it would be beneficial to have Danzo killed, and knowing Sasuke wants it so bad, decides to throw his little emo prince a bone by taking him there. While in the Land of Iron, he confronts the recently panic-attacked Naruto and even Kakashi and Yamato. He explains to them what's going on with Sasuke and then leaves, where he pulls Sasuke's fat out of the fire for the gazillionth time before confronting Danzo with him. He watches Sasuke kill Danzo, but is sad to discover that Danzo destroyed Shisui's Sharingan in the ultimate form of swiper no swiping. Instead, Obito decides to go steal Pain's Rinnegan, which were originally Madara's to begin with. He's then confronted by Konan, who won't let him have them. Despite what Obito can do with Kamui, somehow Konan manages to nearly kill him, forcing him to rip a page from Danzo's book and use Izanagi to not die. He kills Konan and steals Nagato's eye for himself. He also transplants Itachi's eyes into Sasuke's head to give him the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. As he leaves to go start World War IV, he's stopped by Kabuto, who wants to join the party. Obito is like, no. So Kabuto pulls out his ultimate draw 40 cards or let me into your group card. With no other choice, he lets Snake Boy join, hoping to use him for good. In return, he gets a whole lot of great reanimated shinobi. The price though? Madara's back, and healthier than ever. Somehow stronger than he was when he was alive. Madara casts doubt on this though. He's like, howdy Obito, curious why you haven't revived me yet. The answer to that is that he just doesn't give a damn. So the war starts, and Obito uses the 6 paths to make his own paths of pain, and then utilizes his Geto statue to destroy a whole division. He feeds it the Gold and Silver Brothers and awakens it as the Ten Tails. He's later confronted by everyone and their mother, where Kakashi discovers that he can use his Kamui to disrupt Obito's Kamui, allowing Naruto to hurt him. In the end, Obito and Kakashi end up in a death match, where the truth of who Obito is comes to life. Obito really is that one kid nobody cared about. As they battle, Kakashi decides to stab his old friend in the heart with Chidori because he's so good at that, and ends up accidentally helping Obito get the seal Madara put on his heart off. This seal was put there to stop Obito from betraying him, and now that it's gone, guess what Obito's gonna do? Obito somehow doesn't mind not having a heart, mentioning that he lost his a long time ago, and that he's hollow, like a true overdramatic simp. He then absorbs the 10 tails but ends up losing his mind to it, only holding on by remembering what he loves. Thinking of his old squad, he doesn't get pulled apart like the caramel candy in those commercials and gains control of his body again, which had been rampaging and actually been doing pretty good for itself without him. Now he's stronger, but when Naruto, Sasuke, and literally everyone else decide to give their chakra to defeat him, it works. Naruto has a short therapy session inside the man's head about love, peace, and chicken grease, and Obito decides to turn back to the light side after all, Darth Vader style. Feeling super down about his mistakes, he decides to bring everyone he's ever killed back to life, but Black Zetsu says no, and makes him bring Madara back to life, who proceeds to steal his eye. But as he does so, he steals a little bit of the tailed beast chakra from Madara and gives it to a dying Naruto to save his life like a true Chad. But after Madara casts the infinite Tsukiyomi, Kishimoto discovered that he made a character none of his heroes could defeat, so he had him defeated by a brand new character that showed up out of the blue, Kaguya Otsutsuki. Kaguya is the mother of the Sage of Six Paths, but as powerful as she is, the game Tag You're It is super effective against her, so she spends the majority of her battle against Sasuke and Naruto out of reach. Obito decides to help them, but as he does, he catches a stray and dies moments later. For such an awesome character, his death was painfully sad. I guess he really did go back to being that little boy under the rocks all those years ago. But at least when he went up to heaven, he was allowed to send his eyeballs back to the living world to give Kakashi a big power up. Might have been a little bit forced, but I thought it was pretty cool. Anyway, that's the end of his story. He got to be with Rin in heaven, but let's be honest, all the Uchiha probably ganged up on him after they were finished beating up Itachi. So there's that. But yeah, that's the entire history of Obito Uchiha, I guess. So what did you think about it? He was always one of the coolest characters. I loved it more when he was funny and badass though. When he became sappy Obito at the end, I sort of fell off the wagon. I just realized something. I never really liked Obito, I just liked the characters he impersonated, like Guru Guru and Madara Uchiha. Well, now it makes sense to me. His mask and Mangekyo Sharingan powers were cool though. His Mangekyo would be about the only Mangekyo I could have where I wouldn't be upset about not also getting a Susanoo. But anyway, what do you think? What were your favorite points in Obito's life? Least favorite parts? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell to be notified when more videos like this drop, and while you're waiting, check out these other videos we made. I'm sure you'll like them. Anyway, until next time, peace out.